What up, Sid? That's all right. How's life and stuff? Hope everybody's good for the weekend. And audio works. Gotta love that when the audio is working. The show is much more enjoyable. Some might say it would be more enjoyable if the audio didn't work, but we'll go with audio from now, at least for the interim anyway, until the data comes back from the focus groups and we see if I would get a more successful channel. If I didn't say anything, I would do that. I am Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach, and you're watching this on youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. And if you'd like to see more of my financial content, just scroll down past the Oak Island playlist and you'll see the Ramsey Show Aftershow playlist. As you can see, I forgot yesterday to put 483 in this playlist, and so I still have to do that, but 484 from yesterday is, and that makes today number 485. Show number 500 coming up quick, and I will have definitely one new Ramsey song and maybe even two of them, because I got two great ideas. Also, the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist, the music playlist, as well as 11 Ramsey adjacent songs in there. And so, as I said, you can listen to those, and that'll give you an idea probably of what's coming up on the 500th special show. And that day I might just sing all of those songs and do that for an hour instead of have a show to mark the special 500th episode. Marshall, what up? So Sid, since I said you should do the risotto, are you gonna take that to mean, since I am so bad with culinary stuff, are you gonna just do the opposite of what I suggest? I wouldn't blame you. Market report and do. I was just checking out the old crypto, since they apparently had some kind of issue. Oh, I thought there was oh no, it's not on this. Let's see. How about this? Yeah, as you can see, Bitcoin went down today. What is it? 2.66% now. Yeah, it had been down more, but the last it's not in our time zone. So I can't tell you how long ago, but not that long ago. Like maybe the last hour, it's come back up a little bit. It was down like 3.4. Prices dip after $1.5 billion theft from Bybit exchange. Yeah. So how about we not have a theft on that? How about we do that? How about we chill that out first before telling everybody to buy it? And you people that have bought it, that's on you. So, yeah, because all the prices went down, as well. And who knows, it apparently was a hack, it says here, I think. Bybit hack sparks market volatility, and it should. If they can be hacked, why can't Coinbase or any of the other ones? All right, wasn't necessarily going to talk about that, but decided to anyway, since I had left it on that page. But as far as the market today, it's a do as well. And was inflation and tariff fears. Okay, just again, something that might happen, and they always overreact to everything that's in the news, and that's what's in the news to make the people clickety click. And so that's the dealio on that. What else do we have? Intel, of course, still coming down after some big days earlier in the week, but you can't go by this because almost everything else is down as well. Johnson & Johnson, though, up 1.64. Who do we have? We have the Home Depot and Intuit. I know it's Home Depot. That's just who said that? Where did I hear that? My name is Earl. They're like, Southerners in that, and they would call it the Home Depot. And Intuit, which owns your QuickBooks and I think they own one of the tax things now. I can't remember which one it is. Yeah, all the top six stocks all down. The most one, not surprisingly, Tesla 4.68% down. So not a fun day for your market. In futures, look down again. Anything could happen by Monday, of course, though. Did I have anything else? Oh, I think I was gonna. Oh, I was gonna just look at the headlines, see if anything was interesting. Delta releases new information about Captain First Officer flying plane that crashed in Toronto. Dow again. Ransomware warning. Ransomware attacks. FBI warning about that, and that does happen to companies. They try to get into companies all the time and do that. They even did it for my boss, and he was a 2-person company, me and him. Fortunately, he had all the stuff backed up, and he said, "No, I'm not paying you." Let's see. Wall Street Journal investigates Medicare billing practices at United Health. I mean, unfortunately, see, when you start turning the government spigot on, and even in private business, the temptation gets too great to just fudge numbers for these people. So, could happen. Who knows? Home sales dropped sharply as prices hit an all-time high for January. Stop trying to time the market, people, because it may just continue to get higher. You do that, but theoretically, if the sales drop sharply, maybe the prices will as well. Maybe we'll have to see. Internal meta documents show some of the teams that were hit the hardest in low performer cuts. Okay. Don't know what teams those would be, but I'm sure, like any big company, they're going to have teams that aren't necessary to be there at all. Let's see. Hacked and lost around 1.4 billion. It said 1.5 billion dollars in the other stories that I read. Hooters prepares to file for bankruptcy amid declining foot traffic. And that's, I guess, because they're in malls. And so that's a shame. NVIDIA, just see if there's any other, the Supermicro, again, down a bunch. But so was everything else today, though. So it doesn't really stand out. I think that's all we have for the market report. Oh, let's see. Sid grabbing something from the store. Running to the store. You can take the vehicle, Sid, instead of just running. I think Intuit owns TurboTax. I believe you are correct, Marshall. Thank you for the extra information. We got this 369_444, and this ND metric under PAW, how to get more traction. So I looked these up. It is Millionaire Next Door, and the metric is under prodigious accumulation wealth builders. Like, they're the ones that want to get like so much money. They're not worried about retirement. They're just obsessed with making a lot of money in the market for the future and so forth. And basically, what is he doing here? He's saving 60 to 70% of the income, so you think that would be fine. But the problem with this was he wasn't seeing the numbers in it, because he's in his 20s. So obviously his numbers aren't going to look as good as they will look if he does this same kind of thing for 20 years. And so when he looks at it when he's 40 as opposed to 20, then it will probably look more like he wants. But you are going to be limited to it said that he doesn't make, with a sub 6-figure income can do this. And so Yeah, maybe not. So how about you try to make more money if that's what's important to you? It does say baby step 7 there. But and this is the kind of thing where these people are trying to make every cent possible. And so, of course, he mentions doing the baby steps. And one of the commenters uh, said, yeah, you're not going to do that because you would debt leverage your mortgage and not pay the mortgage off. You would invest that money instead. And so it's not Ramsey stuff at all. So I don't know what this is doing here. So, because of course, Mr. Ramsey does not advise any of this. He doesn't advise any of, oh, just save as much money. Save all the money. He doesn't advise that. He advises that you do the baby steps, which is the best thing for you because if you have the paid off house, see, when running these numbers, these people have calculators, right? And unfortunately, no calculators have a risk button on them. So you cannot add in the risk. So if you invest instead of paying off your house, guess what? You can still lose your house possibly in some instances. And so, but with a paid off house, then you can invest more, and that would be plenty. Especially if you start off with no debt when you're 20 and you're saving at a 60 or 70% rate, you'll be fine, and you don't have to worry about trying to set some kind of record. But also he's doing it in index funds as well, which you're leaving money on the table for that though. So basically another 20-year-old trying to be a financial bro and taking financial bro advice, but also trying to make that work with the baby steps, but it doesn't work like that. Because when you try to take two financial mindsets and put them together or take the parts you like out of each of them, they work against each other. So that would be a nar from Mr. Ramsey on that. But as far as the person, should be fine, but you never know. You never know. Anything can happen between 20 and 40. And so something may come up that might be more important than you having every bit of money that you think you want have by then saved up. You know? So, you talk about getting married, kids, maybe that stuff becomes more important than being a prodigious accumulation wealth builder. Dumb. All right. Saving not dumb. Being obsessed with it, yes. Married till buried, interesting. Mortgage or investing, this along the same lines probably. My wife and I are in a blessed position to be debt free and working on baby steps 4, 5, 6 right now, putting about 120% extra principal toward our mortgage each month. This trajectory would have us complete the mortgage in 3 years, a total of 8 years. Okay, great. Currently, we're investing 10% take home into our Roth IRAs. Should I slow down on the mortgage and gas up on investing, or is this trajectory acceptable where you're going to get the financial bros that say, no, if you have a low mortgage interest, you should just pay minimums and then invest the rest. But actually, you should be doing 15%. So I don't know where you got your 10% from. If you had glanced at the baby steps, you would see that step 4 says, you mentioned step 4, 5, and 6, so maybe you read it. It says invest 15 of gross household income, 15% of gross household income to retirement. And there's no extra investing or extra saving beyond the 3 to 6 month emergency fund, which I do, since you have a mortgage, I do recommend that emergency fund be 6 months. So, but beyond that 6 month emergency fund, you would not have extra savings on that unless it's for a specific thing, like tires is my favorite example, or vacation, something like that. Which we had another call today where the Ramsey team had to make the person spend some of his money because he was being too tight with his money. And he was not in baby steps 1, 2, or 3 either. I believe he was on step 7, I think. Or no, he was on step 6. I think he just had the house to pay off, but making plenty of money, no debt beyond that, full emergency fund, already investing the 15% of gross income. And so he was fine. At that point, you've earned the right to take big vacations if you want to. Knock yourself out on that. That makes it take longer to pay out the house, but you are the one living the life, so you get to weigh in that delay there. And you shouldn't be doing that in steps 1, 2, and 3. No way. Once you get to step 4, yeah, you earned it. But yeah, so you should knock that up, and that, let's see, if that's 10% of take-home pay, yeah, you're going to have to make that go higher on that. So you should be investing higher, because they want you to do 15% while also addressing kid college and paying off the mortgage faster. So you should slow down on mortgage probably. Yeah, 120 extra plus, you wouldn't be doing that. So you would take some of that 120% extra principal that you were putting on there, and you would throw that to investing to get that up to the 15%. And so fairly easy question, answered right by the baby steps. But even people that read them sometimes, this person could have read that and saw where it said 15%, but somehow blinded by their own situation, because they're too close to their own situation, can't understand that, oh yeah, we just have to change what we're doing, our investing 10% of take home, we need to make that 15% of gross income. And then if we are addressing step 5 per month, then any money left over after the 15% and the addressing of kid college on step 5, the younger they are, the less you have to put in per month, that kind of thing. And then hopefully you would be done with the mortgage soon anyway, maybe not 3 years if you up the investing amount. But yeah, so it's right there. It's right there for you in the baby steps, but people can't understand for some reason. They can't look at their situation, and that's what I always say. You can, and it doesn't work for people a lot of times because they can't get out of their own head to think, let's see, if this was happening to my sister or brother or my child or just my friend, if this was happening to my friend, this exact situation, what would I tell them to do? But some people, like in the back of their mind, they know it's still their own situation, and so they can't think past their own situation, which is why you need sometimes a financial coach, for example, or at least, again, a friend that will be able to examine your situation, because they're your friend, but it's not their particular situation, so they can look at it outside of the box there, because they don't have all the emotions and stuff built into it. Crossroads. I'm looking for, that's a fine CMT program. I don't know if that's still on there anymore, Country Music Television. And I'm sure they have a YouTube channel. I've just not looked at it, but they have some fine, basically that's 2 different artists, normally a pop and a country artist. And they sing both songs. They both sing them together. Like a great one was Taylor Swift and Def Leppard, for example. But there's been some great ones on there. I'm looking for some direction here and figured this might be the right place to get some other opinions. It certainly is. My wife and I have a good income. AGI for 2024 was $426,000. Purchased a home 2 years ago for $386K. I don't care about the percent. 15 years, great. Student loans totaling $309K. Oh, so you wouldn't have done that if you were following the Ramsey advice. You would not have bought a house while you still had student loans out, because if we look at the baby steps again, we see that baby step 3B, and it doesn't say on here, so you got to do a little bit more diving into the Ramsey advice to know. But baby step 3B is where you save the down payment. So if you still have non-mortgage debt, which student loans are, there would be none of that. You do steps 1, 2, and 3, one at a time without even thinking about the higher steps. Do these steps first. Don't start thinking ahead. Start thinking ahead, you're going to be tempted to start investing or buying a house too early, and you should not do that. This is the way that is best to keep you from getting into trouble with finances. Let's see. So you shouldn't have done that. But for our 26K a year, that's decent income, you would think. And the house definitely within price range for these people, but you shouldn't have done that while also having student loans out. Should knock those out first. Currently max out 401k, IRA, and HSA. You wouldn't be doing that either while you have that. So stop investing until you get those student loans paid off. You're doing it wrong. The HSA funding is fine, even on baby step 2, if you're using it for if you're using it to actually pay for the medical stuff. If you're trying to use it for extra investing, then that's a no. We don't do that until step 4. You're doing it wrong. For investing and everything else goes towards debt. Right, it's not enough. You're doing it wrong. We have paid off cars, credit cards, and all private student loans. Total approximately 150K, right? But they still have the 309K of student loans. And so income does not allow us to write off student loan interest depending on the outcome of the SAVE program. Student loan forgiveness may be an option. Mr. Ramsey would say, you took it out, you need to pay it back. He paid back all the stuff that he claimed bankruptcy on. He paid it all back. We would pay approximately $1,500 a month for 20 years, and debt should be forgiven. But is this in the bloody UK? And debt would be forgiven. No, SAVE program is us. Which would equal out to about 0% interest. My concern mainly lies with what happens if student loan forgiveness is no longer an option down the road. Yeah, so I got a great idea. Why don't you pay it off since you took out the loan? I've been leaning towards paying extra on a mortgage to pay it off early. That would be a NAR again, because you shouldn't even bought that in the first place. But I've been struggling with the decision on what to pay first. This year, while filing taxes, the interest we paid throughout the year on the home was able to be itemized and reduce the amount of taxes. I don't give a crap about that. I don't care. I don't care you trying to lower your tax burden. I mean, you can do whatever you want that's legal within the eyes of the law, but within the eyes of the Ramsey advice, it's for you to pay off your dumb student loans first. That's what you would pay off even before you bought the house. Now, with that income, you can fix this, but you have to turn around your mindset at investing extra instead of paying off your debt, instead of paying off the home early. You need to change to the Ramsey advice, which again, the investing 15%. Once you have that, I would imagine they have a bunch of savings as well that he didn't talk about. And if not, you definitely need to get that, the full emergency fund. Only then do you start investing. So stop investing, get that debt done, which they can do with that high income. They can get that done relatively fast. I mean, it's not, maybe, if they buckle down, maybe 2 years, a little more maybe. Nobody told you to take out not only 309, but also 150 on top of that. So $459,000 in student loans. Granted, that's for two of them maybe, two people, but still, that was dumb as crap to do. Where are we? Interest and item, right? Again, with taxes, you saving you a couple dollars on taxes is not the Ramsey advice. So that would not be the priority of this question here. The question would be for you to do the baby steps correctly and pay off money that you borrowed instead of looking for forgiveness, which may or may not come. Any direction would be helpful based on our budget and expenses. We pay $80K in additional payments per year. Okay, and all that, you should be doing more than that. Maybe you're not paying at all on the deferment. Maybe he's talking about the mortgage, and so it's not really clear what exactly this person is doing. But one thing is certain: he's not doing the baby steps, or she. Of course, doesn't say. Does say a lot of hour though, so I'm assuming it's a couple. Scryon Sidunga. I have no idea what that is. Military, buy or rent. You rent. If you're military, you do not buy because you don't know how long you'll be in a certain area. New to this, married early 30s and halfway through Total Money Makeover. Instead of writing this question, you could have probably finished the book. It's a quick read. All small words in there. On step 4 and 5, no kids. So you're not on step 5. There is no step 5 if you don't have children. So you just get to skip that. So if you are investing, then you would be on step 6 if you have a mortgage. If you have not bought a house yet, you do not do that while you're in the military. What does the community recommend for military? With moves every 3 years, it seems like a wild gamble to buy, knowing I'll never pay it off before the move. Imagine somebody in the military thinking that way, because that is very logical, and that is the advice. The time when you do that is when you are done with your service. Thank you for that service, by the way. But once you are done with it, then that's when you pick a place you want to live in and you buy a house there. You do not want to buy a house to live in for 3 years and then have to sell it. Or worse, here's what a lot of people do in the military: they buy the house, then they get restationed somewhere else, and then they think they're going to become a landlord. And then they run into trouble with that. So yeah, also seems wasteful to keep throwing money at rent for the next decade or so. Thoughts? No, it's not throwing it away. It's adjusting to your job, which is the military, which means you'll be moving every 3 years. So it is dumb as crap, as you suspected. You called it a wild gamble. I'll call it dumb as crap to buy a house once every 3 years. So that's a nar from Mr. Ramsey on that. And you don't want to buy something somewhere where you are just stationed at. You might not like that area. And being in the military, you might not get to experience as much of that area as like a regular person would, due to the amount of time like you have to be on bases and stuff. So yeah, you don't buy until you are either out of the military or in such a position in the military where they will 100%. Was so happy today. Rachel said 100%. I don't know if she got that specifically from Bert Kreischer, comedian, but that's, he's one of the guys that says it, and he used to way overused it, and he just stopped, like my pal Matty Bags. Ever since I started putting hashtag mention in greetings to him, he has stopped saying mention all the time. He would say that word all the time. And so once they pointed out to Bert that he was saying 100% multiple times, like in every podcast, then he stopped saying it as much. Still says it, though. Yeah. Let's see. Fast Kaleidoscope 135. What to do nay? We are debt free. Congratulations. We don't and won't have kids. We don't and won't have a mortgage. All right. And that's how you get, if you, as soon as you, we max out our Roth IRAs, so that is investing as well. So guess what? You're immediately on step 7. Congratulations. Every year we continue to put money towards savings. What's the next step for us? Just build wealth? Yep. You're on step 7. That's build wealth and give. And instead of just regular savings, that's when you might want to, it should be 15% of gross income regardless. And so if you're just maxing out the Roth IRA, that's, if you make a decent amount of coin, that's going to be more than you can max out in the Roth IRA. So that would be like, you would put that in, you can look into HSA as some more tax advantage savings, investing rather. You can use that as an investment, but other than that, just a brokerage account where you don't get any tax advantage. Your money's taxed before it goes in there, just like every other dollar, like the dollars that you buy grocery with, that's taxed out of your check. And then you would get money out of your check also that is taxed already. And then you would put that into the brokerage fund, or the brokerage account rather, and then when you take it out in retirement, or whenever you can take it out, you don't have to wait till retirement. If you need the money for something, you can take it out, but then you have to pay the taxes on the growth of that. So yeah, that would be the dealio for you guys. Because yeah, if maxing out your Roth IRAs, if that is 15% of your gross household income, you're not making that much. So you might want to look at that as well. But you're in a great spot to be making less money, where you don't have, and you're not going to buy a house, and not going to have kids. I don't know if the kids part has anything to do with the amount of money you make, but the house maybe. Well, you decided that, and so that choice is totally up to you. And so again, that does put you, even though you don't have a mortgage, even though you don't have kids, that does put you right on baby step 7. You just need to do step 4 correctly with investing 15%. So I would do, even if you decide to keep the rest of it, your other savings into just savings accounts, you should at least put that into a brokerage account to get up to the 15% of gross income. Felina 365, let's see. Sid says they can also send you baby gifts if they have money just burning a hole in their pockets. That is correct. That is correct. You have to give me those links, Sid, and I'll put up stickers on the thing that'll pop up right here. I don't edit these live, so I'm fronting about doing that. Felina 365, bankruptcy question mark. That's going to be your last option. That means you have done everything else. I secured a consolidated loan for credit debt amounting to $34,000. However, I've recently lost both jobs with no end in sight. Now, how does that happen? Should I just declare bankruptcy? That would be the last absolute step. And you would continue to look for better ways. Obviously, the first thing to do would be to get a job immediately. So, and I wonder why you lost both jobs recently. So I'm wondering what's happened there. If you have another issue going on, either medically, physically, or something in your head going on. So I would wonder about that, since you lost 2 jobs recently. But another problem with this is the consolidation, Mr. Ramsey calls it, because people think they've done something when they just make it all one big loan instead of here. It's still the same problem. It's still the same debt. Actually, it's more debt, because when you consolidate it, they charge you money to do that and add that to the account, and that makes more debt. And then you're paying interest on that amount that they've added. You're paying interest on that every month. So that's why we don't advise to do that. So, but yeah, bankruptcy is last ditch effort. Last ditch effort. Mr. Ramsey declared his. I think it was after 3 years after he was sued. He paid off all but I think a couple $100,000 that he owed. He paid it all off, so he like paid off millions, I think, and over 3 years. But it wasn't fast enough, I guess. And I believe that was Bank of America. How about that? But he did pay them that money back later, and because they had written it off, per the law, they didn't have a way to do that. But they made up a fake thing, a fake charge or something like that, and charged it to him, and then he paid it. Mayo, Kiyo, Bio. All right. John Deloney's idea of a strange parent regularly writing letters and expressing love for the child feels manipulative to me. Okay. Nobody cares what your opinion is. I mean, it's a Reddit forum. You can type whatever you want there, but why would I care what your opinion is? I mean, he's a trained counselor. He's got 2 PhDs, and you're just some person in a chat. So I don't care how it feels to you. So I would be more apt to take his word for it, for something being the right thing to do, than what you feel like for you. So that's fine. So, I mean, and that's really got nothing to do with finances. It's got nothing to do with, anything. I mean, that's all counseling stuff, and that's totally, I'm not a Ramsey Solutions certified counselor. I'm not. Financial coach, yes. Counselor, no. So, but I don't care about his opinion on it. Many visit. 5868, need help understanding where to put bonus based on my situation. Okay, it's not the situation unless you are in an emergency situation. You're in storm mode and you pause the baby steps. If you are pregnant and are expecting a baby, then you do pause the baby steps, and that is stork mode. And meaning you're just paying your expenses and the minimum payments on debt, or mortgage. You're paying the minimum while you just pile up all extra cash, just in case there's some kind of problem. And then when mom and baby are home safe, or in the case of emergency, the emergency is abated, then you would just go right back to the very same baby step you were on before and throw all the piled up money to it. Hopefully you did not have to use it and have that as a pile of money still. Hello, I'm debt free. I have a fully funded emergency fund in a high yield savings account. Everybody loves to do that, trying to get every little cent. I get it, but emergencies don't wait to 1 to 3 days that you need, and most of those to get that money to you. I'm investing 15% in retirement accounts. Does say debt free, okay. I do not own a home yet. I am planning on buying in about 2 to 3 years. Recently got a bonus of $20,000, and I have extra left over $3,000 on a monthly basis. Currently after my expenses. My question is, should I put all the extra in the high yield savings account or invest it in the market? If you weren't going to buy a house for 5 years, yes, you could. 2 to 3, that's a no, because the market could be down. It's more a higher percentage of the market being down in any period less than 5 years. If it's 5 years or over, there's way less of a percentage, and enough of a percentage for Dave to say it's fine for you to use the market as a piggy bank. So if you either throw that timeline out to 5 years, or you put it in the high yield savings account and put your emergency fund in something that you have immediate access to it. Now, some high yield savings accounts may have debit card or check writing privileges to those, and then that would be fine. But if it doesn't, you're supposed to have your fully funded emergency fund completely liquid, and that does not mean a 1 to 3 day transfer. because emergencies do not wait 1 to 3 days to happen. No emergency ever said, hey, like when my tire busted out the other month, a couple months ago, when the tire busted, it did not say, hey man, I'm going to bust in 3 days. Why don't you go ahead and access your high yield savings account and transfer that money, dog, because you're going to need it. Yeah. And so it does not do that. It just decides it's going to be an emergency when it's an emergency. I'm in 15K debt and need to repay in 14 days. What do I do? Basically, I'm a student from Nepal in Australia right now. All right, man. All over the globe there, and debt. Spend more than 15K on visa processing and stuff. Visa processing and stuff most of the money. All right, you know, not an American, not an Englishman, or English lass. So I'll try to get through the language. I've asked from family and friends, and it's due end of the month. No, is it you owing? See, I'm not under. I think we have a misunderstanding. We have a language problem here because I don't know if he owes the money to family and friends or he already asked them for the money and they don't have it. And I have less than 200 in my bank account right now. What should I do? Skills I have. Okay, Yoda. Chef. All right. For my visa reasons. Okay. Good at coding and AI tools. Why don't you have more money? Why don't you just take on a lot of coding work? Like part-time coding work. I mean, that might not be as easy being from Nepal and in Australia. You might have a little bit of problem, but most of that stuff I would think would be remote stuff anyway. I'm willing to chew glass and grind my bones. I don't think any job requires that thing, but I get it. That means you want to do it. Get out of this hole right now. If someone has some opportunities for me, let me know. Anything you need, I'm your guy. All right, background for further context. I started and failed 2 of my last companies that I started, one drop shipping. Yeah, you don't put a lot of money in that stuff. You don't, especially when you are on baby step 1. And who knows if when you're in early baby steps, you're not throwing a lot of money into companies that you're trying to start. You build it at the speed of cash, just like Mr. Dave Ramsey did. And Ramsey Solutions began and was being run from his kitchen table. So, but because of the language barrier, don't understand exactly what's going on. But you think you would have the coding, you know, who doesn't need coding right now? Everybody does. So you think you would be able to find the piecework, but because you're not in your home country, because you're in Australia, and appear to be racking up debts, you know, that might not be, you know, I don't really have any idea other than try to work to get the extra money. And maybe and what happens if you don't pay it off in 2 weeks? Why does it have to be paid off in 2 weeks? Didn't explain any of that. Forsaken entrance 352. How much are people saving a year? It varies. It doesn't matter how much anybody else is saving, and you shouldn't be saving any extra unless you're on step 7, excuse me. There should be no extra saving other than the full emergency fund, other than investing until you are in step 7. Just paid off car loan, so the only debt my husband and I have is our mortgage. Great. We're now working towards saving for 6 months of emergency fund. Great. So that's what you would do. We were paying off my car loan, which was slightly more than $44,000 very aggressively, and paid that off in 34 months. Great. If you had talked to me ahead of time, I would say, why don't you sell it? And then how about, hey, I got a great idea. Sell it, buy a beater, and then you're out of debt 3 years earlier. How about that? Almost 3 years earlier. I would have told you that, but we're here now. I've become obsessed with the idea of savings. I wish I could have talked to you 3 years ago, dog. And really want to try to save. It's not try and do something. It's try to do something. $20,000 this year. Well, you can do that, but you should be Investing 15% towards retirement, 15 of gross income towards retirement. And then anything else, if there's no kids, then step 5 doesn't apply to you, and then everything else would go to the mortgage. What are people managing to save in a year? They may make more money than you. They may have fewer expenses than you do. You cannot judge yourself by what other people are doing. How long did your emergency fund take to build? Again, it depends on those variables. Stop trying to compare yourself to other people. Obviously, I understand this varies based on income and expenses. Just curious what others are doing. What you need to be curious about is, what they are doing and not what the amount that they're saving. So, because you're going to be limited by your variables there. The amount you make and the amount of your expenses are going to be what is holding you back. So, and you may not be able to make as much as those. So just that number is not what you want to know. What you want to know is what they're doing, and hopefully they're doing a Ramsey advice. And so you don't even need to know what they're doing. You can just follow the Ramsey advice, and that is the best way, where you keep your expenses down. You can schedule some fun stuff, have the money in the budgeted for it. But other than that, stop spending money and put it onto your mortgage. So you wouldn't have extra cash laying around outside of the emergency fund. That would be applied to the mortgage. So I also don't understand that when you say saving, does that mean so you can put it to the mortgage? Or are you thinking about extra savings? People don't understand that either. They don't let the fact that it says $1,000 savings in baby step 3. You grow that $1,000 to 3 to 6 months of expenses. Now, it does not say anything else about any other savings on here. So where are you? You're just coming up with that out of your head to do because you think this is a good idea. So I don't understand that with savings, but maybe they mean just not spending it so they can put it on the mortgage. And that's where everything other than the 15% should go, outside of things that you put in your budget every month. And that can include fun stuff, that can include eating out, that can include vacations. Once you're on baby step 4, you have earned that right to do that. But now you do finish the emergency fund first, and then you will be able to go to the steps 4, 5, and 6, which 5 I don't think apply. And so then it would just be 4 and 6. So you just got to be investing the 15%. And then everything else you would put to the mortgage. And then when you're on step 7, you can have as many different savings accounts as you want to. Where is, oh my goodness gracious me. Boom, 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 boom. What up, James T? Strange can refer to many different kind of breaks. User mentally narrowing a relationship to a particular kind of issue. So it says, wow, a whole $3K left over. Yeah, that's almost what she takes home. Never had an emergency that I couldn't handle with a 1 to 3 day shuffle. Well, that is fortunate. That is not guaranteed. Sometimes you got to have it immediately. Like the sudden extra $100 for the tire was covered by my account, not being below $100. Right, some emergencies like that you can cash flow for sure. Transfer the money in the checking account caught up where it should have been. Sure, if you have time like that, you can do it, but not all emergencies are like that. A big auto repair, you can usually leave the car at the mechanic till the transfer is complete. Sure, but there can be emergencies where that wouldn't happen. And medical appointments almost never want cash up front. Yeah, there's a lot of examples, Sid. I get it, but some don't. So it's not a most emergencies fund. It's an all emergencies fund. Is she doing math for me for what? Oh, 44K, 34 months is 1,300 a month times 15K per year, but that doesn't account for interest rate. Right. Okay. Is financing a car for Uber worth it as a side hustle? That would be a NAR. You would not be doing that upon Mr. Ramsey's wonderful advice. Major ad 16. Hello everyone, hi guys. I'm looking to buy a car for driving Uber in my city, UK. The car needs to be plug-in hybrid. Why? Either petrol or diesel and must be no older than 8 years. Oh, to qualify for Uber Executive. I don't know what that is. That means, okay, so here's the dealio. So I don't know if you were listening, major ad, probably not, since I'm only recording it now and you wrote this 3 days ago. Are you familiar with the Mr. Ramsey? I don't know if you know, but he's the no debt guy. And that includes cars. Imagine that. That includes everything except once you get to baby step 3B, you can start saving a down payment for a mortgage for only your residence. So you cannot get a mortgage on a rental property. So anything involving business is not financed or business loaned for. When you build a business, you do it out of cash. That way, if it doesn't fail like most do, then you would, I mean, it'll be sad still and you'll be out the money, but you won't be in debt because of it. So, you know, you all of a sudden deciding to say, I'm going to drive Uber in my city. You know how many people have decided to do that in your city and then found out it wasn't worth it? A lot. You have to be available at the right times. You have to be in the right area of the city as well. And so, or you may have some other outside factor affecting it where it just won't work for you. So that is dumb as crap to do. You would not do that for it to be your own car either, not just specifically you upgrading apparently for this Uber exec job. To be an Uber exec driver. So that's a no, 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 no. And if you missed the other ones, that's a no. Background and current situation doesn't matter. None of this stuff matters. I've been renting cars for 110 to 259 pounds a week. That seems dumb as well. Have you been doing that to Uber exec, or have you been doing that for yourself? Full-time IT job and want to do Uber on the side for extra income? Great. So you don't go into debt to have a side hustle. You don't do that. That's a no. What does Dave say? Pardon me if I'm unclear. Oblivious Falconer. Emergency fund in this economy. My favorite phrase, versus small debts. In this economy doesn't matter. Guess what? It's always going to be this economy. Whenever you're doing something, it's going to be an economy and it might not be great. And it's definitely not going to be great for all people because it never is. So shut up with this this economy stuff. Like you don't get a pass for the state the economy is. Math is still math. All the numbers still add up the same. You don't get to put in a little variable. What would that be for in this economy? A little like a backwards E for economy. Oh, well, we get an exception on this number because of the economy. In this economy, that never changes the advice. Early 20s. Yep. I got into credit card debt. I was dumber than you when I was 20. Get over it. I got into credit card debt. That was poised to crush me, but read Dave's book and used a budget worksheet and the debt snowball to eliminate all. Great of it. Many years have passed. My income increased substantially. Fabulous. By comparison, and while I stayed out of debt, I stayed out of credit card debt. I do currently have some debt, and my wife and I are shifting mindset to eliminate debts again. Oh, that means you chilled out. That means you were off the reservation for a while. Your Ramsey halo had slipped by the wayside. And so you were not aggressive about paying off your other debt, which are probably some dumb loans, car loan or some dumb crap like that. But they got the mindset now to eliminate debt again. Maybe they'll do it and be great from here on out. Hope so. Move towards a debt-free life. Fabulous. Didn't realize there was more. My bad. Debt-free life. We started by selling a car. Fabulous. To eliminate one of the 2 car payments. Great. Car was underutilized but was not underwater, which yielded $4,500 that is currently earmarked to buy a Honda or a Toyota of some kind when our schedule requires 2 cars again this summer. That would not be where it would go. It would go to your other debts. And then when your other debts are gone, then you start saving the full emergency fund. And if you have to on the side, then you could save a little bit to buy another car. And it doesn't have to be a Honda or a Toyota. It can be just a beater car for that next car that you need when your schedules require 2 cars again. Currently saving the previous payment amount as well to be part of the cash-only car purchase budget. And that's your wrong priority. It should be the debt. And for you to get the debt paid off. Now, if you can't get the debt paid off and also save up for that, you need to get out of your head a $10,000 car. I wouldn't do that while I have other debt. Current debts are, primary mortgage. I know 225 and under and is below 15% of gross income. Great. Oh, even though it's a 30-year, that's all right. You can just pay. If you do the baby steps correctly, you would have it paid off anyway. The HELOC, and that was a mistake as well. Why did you do that dumb crap? None of the Ramsey advice you read said to get a HELOC. The auto loan, $12,000 remaining. You could sell that, and then you could sell that one too, and you get 2 beaters. Another loan and a student loan. Great. You shouldn't have dropped off the Ramsey plan. You would have been a lot better off by now. Retirement savings are healthy, and you would stop investing while you have this dumb debt. While you have this HELOC and this auto loan and this other loan and the student loan, you would stop investing. You're doing it wrong. You said you read the Total Money Makeover. Did you not remember it? Right? Isn't that what he said? Read Dave's book. I'm assuming that's Total Money Makeover, but yeah. Did you forget how it went, or you think it just doesn't apply to you? I don't get it. Don't get it. 4.5 months, you should have $1,000 while you still have your dumb debt. Did you not read the Total Money Maker? Total Money Makeover. Are you not familiar with the baby steps, sir? Or madam? I believe it's the sir. We follow budget and retirement, and cash savings go up even if just a little every month. There would be no retirement yet. You're doing it wrong. Having been through a layoff with limited severance and support and kids to feed, I'm extremely reluctant to touch the emergency fund, especially in such a weak job market where you're not supposed to. You're not having emergencies now. And you should not be investing. So you should have more money to pull from. So you would be able to cash flow something as well. You could cash flow an emergency perhaps and just pay minimums on debt that particular week or month or whatever. Well, technically I could pay off all loans except mortgage and HELOC. I cannot stomach that level of risk. Well, then you need to do your own thing then. And you probably already know that Ramsey does say for you to pay off all the loans except the mortgage and HELOC. You do pay that off first. And then you pay the HELOC off before you even have any extra emergency fund. So if you want to do something different, that's up to you, man. But that's not the Ramsey advice. And that's going to take it longer to be in. What do you want to do? Emergency fund versus small debts. Yeah, so you're not gonna debt leverage those loans in order to have savings, to have an emergency fund. That's a no from Mr. Ramsey. I do not like paying off the smallest student loan because I would not be able to replace that cash in the emergency fund within the year. That is a small... Oh, because it's only $4,500. It's It's only $4,500, and he's paying double the minimum. So he's just, everything you're doing is wrong, man. If you like that, just do it. A thought I had was to pay off the 0% loan, reallocate $400 a month back to savings to replace the cash. Yeah, you don't want to do it, and loan to begin to snowball. You're not snowballing. You're doing your own thing. So, approach, or am I being too attached to the emergency fund? You're being too attached to the emergency fund. Other than $1,000, emergency fund higher than that does not exist until step 3. You will not be in step 3 until the student loan is paid off. The other loan is paid off. Oh, you paid it off. No, 5K balance. Okay. And that does have a high payment anyway. So yeah, you would pay that off out of the emergency fund for sure. Actually, the smallest one, the student loan. Yeah. First, and then that, and then the car loan. Like I said, you could sell the car immediately and get rid of that 12K debt. And you buy 2 beaters. You buy 1 beater now and then 1 in the summer. And then the HELOC is step 2 debt. Because you shouldn't, whatever crap you took that out for, if that was for something you can sell back, do that. Sell that. $28,000. What the heck did you do? Remodel? People always want to do that stuff and tap their mortgage to do that stuff. Or maybe it was to pay off other debt and then still took on other debt. So all that's dumb, and you can do that if you want to, but none of that would be the Ramsey advice. So, you know, don't know why you're asking here specifically, because he knows the Ramsey advice, just doesn't want to do it. Turquoise Beach 23, advice for my mom. My stepfather just passed away. My mom quit her job 12 years ago after he had brain injuries and been his full-time caregiver ever since. She has never been great with money, has no retirement account, etc. She has about $3,000 in the bank, and they had been living on his pension and Social Security, and for a short time recently on her Social Security. Fortunately, she did have a $90K life insurance policy on him. Okay. There's about $68K left on the mortgage and about $8K in credit card debt. She will need a new to her car soon-ish, as their Toyota has been on its last leg for a very long time. I would run that into the ground. Don't worry about that first. With the insurance policy, you pay off the 8K credit card debt and you pay off the mortgage. And then you don't have a mortgage payment, so then you could save up for a car. I wanted to see if you agreed. My advice to her: pay off the mortgage and credit card debt, right? You would say credit card debt first, and then, you know, full emergency fund would be needed, and then mortgage. But maybe that can all be about in the same month. Let's see what else there is. Pay for mortgage and credit card debt with life insurance, put the rest in an emergency fund. Yeah, exactly. Crunch the numbers, and if she watches her spending, she should be okay with getting just her Social Security. I will also be sitting with her to set up an actual budget and sinking funds, right? Find out what, you know, who knows? I mean, when people get older, they do have stuff where they are just paying for stuff and not even using it. Like I know of a one person that was elderly, that turned in her cable box, so she was no longer using cable, but she was still paying it every month. And it had been like 8 months since she turned in the cable box, so she was not using that service, but just didn't realize that she was being billed for it. Auto bill. And that's the problem with putting things on auto bill, because then you don't look at it. You're not the one doing it. If you're the one doing it, then you know there's a problem if you are being charged for cable and you no longer have the cable box. So that's the one problem. Auto draft is a great time saver, but there is something to be said for you doing it, because then you are seeing and making that transaction happen every month. Where were we? Numbers. Oh, I was sitting with her to set up actual budget and sinking funds. Great. Note about the pension, he maxed it out when he retired, so she will get nothing from that, okay? So she doesn't have a retirement account, so yeah, so she would just be saving money. I mean, depending on how old she is, and if she can maybe go back to work, that would be fabulous. But you guys can work. She was getting Social Security too, though, right? So, but still, if she can make a little money on the side, a little part-time work or something, that would only help. But yeah, you should do that, and you minimize the expenses because then you have no loan payment, the credit card debt, and don't be using cards anymore either, because uh, being elderly and alone, it would not be the first time grief spending happened. Any kind of emotional spending whatsoever that can happen. So it needs to be no more credit cards. And then with the mortgage paid off, then there's no mortgage. And so then you have that extra money to live on as well. So yeah, I mean, it will probably be fine, but you do want to make sure that she's okay and doesn't fall for any of these scams or anything like that. You just gotta take care of the older people. Make sure they have all the information. Alrighty, what time is it? Oh, we are over the hour. It goes by so fast, guys. What's more, I am Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you, yes, you have got money problems, or you just want to make sure you are, oh, yeah, I don't have the other light on. That's why it looks so dark in here. My bad. But you can see me well enough. Where was I? Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. If you have financial problems, money problems, or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me at calendly.com/coachstevemoney. If you have any questions about financial coaching or the advice in general, or anything else on my YouTube channel or anything else on your mind, you can send that to coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Oh, that calendly.com address /coachstevemoney. That's in the ticker below, and also in the video description. All of this stuff is. Donations can go to paypal.me/coachstevemoney. Alternatively to CashApp at $ Coach Steve Money. And Walmart gift card again to coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Upcoming streams until further notice, Monday through Friday, 5:25 p.m. the second, maybe not right to the second, but about the time that the Ramsey show is over on YouTube. That's when the after show on YouTube will start. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for subscribing and liking the video. That's the thumbs up. And as always, make smart financial decisions every day.